So Tom Cruise actually broke his ankle during the filming of this movie, and apparently whatever stunt he broke on is in the final cut of the movie, and I don't know what it is. If you guys do, let me know in the comment section down below, but I'm excited to find out exactly where it is in the movie, because that's dedication, man. I'm John Hayeck, and welcome to my movie thoughts. Mission Impossible Fallout. This is the 6th movie in the Mission Impossible movie franchise, and to be completely upfront for you guys, I've only seen Mission Impossible 4, 5, and 6 now. I've seen Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and now Fallout. Mission Impossible 1, I hear it's good. Mission Impossible 2, I hear it's pretty bad. And Mission Impossible 3, I hear is really good. So I'll get back to watching those at some point in the future. But as of right now, all you guys need to know is you can go into Mission Impossible Fallout having not seen any of the previous Mission Impossible movies and still enjoy it. If you saw 5, Rogue Nation, you'll probably get a little bit more out of this one, but still, you can enjoy Fallout. So basically, the plot of Mission Impossible Fallout is that after the events of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation, members of the Syndicate, the evil group from Mission Impossible 5, have kind of gone into hiding. Some of them are still doing some nefarious things, and a certain group of them that are doing these nefarious things are trying to get their hands on some plutonium that the IMF, Impossible Missions Force, run by Tom Cruise's character Ethan Hunt, are also trying to get their hands on. Basically what happens is those two groups are conflicting, the remainders of the Syndicate and the IMF. The IMF's trying to recover the plutonium, the remainder of the Syndicate's trying to keep the plutonium safe, but also trying to juggle whether or not they can still hold on to it, what tactics is Tom Cruise going to do to get it back. It's a very back and forth type of movie. You're trying to see what team's going to do to take down the other team. All the while, the IMF's trying to make sure it doesn't get shut down, because as we know, the IMF leads to a lot of global, collateral. It's never quite an easy time being on the team with Tom Cruise. And ultimately, all of the actors in this movie are quite good. Tom Cruise can play Ethan Hunt in his sleep at this point. He's amazing. Doing all of his own stunts, as I mentioned up front, is super impressive, and it shows in this movie as well. Some of the action sequences are quite well done, which I'll touch on in a moment, but Tom Cruise commits them, and I really enjoy that. Simon Pegg is Benji. I'm always a sucker for that character. Really, really snarky, very fun. Loved seeing his role in this movie. The villain in this movie kind of looks a little bit like Benji, which is something that I thought was pretty funny. I don't think it's a spoiler to say this, since it's kind of brought up in the first 10 minutes or so, but the villain from this movie is actually the same villain from Rogue Nation, which I thought was pretty cool that they brought him back. It was something that I thought was quite neat, and I liked seeing that continuity, because, again, even if you hadn't seen Rogue Nation, you can still go into this one and be like, oh, that was a cool villain, but having seen him in Rogue Nation, I'm like, yep, really enjoy that. Solomon Lane, really interesting character. I liked what they did with him in this film as well. Ving Rhames, I thought, was, again, very well serviced as Luther. I thought that he was a character that had some much-needed comic relief to some scenes. Michelle Monaghan's back in this movie. Rebecca Ferguson's back in this movie. Both of them are excellent. Not Michelle Monaghan. Rebecca Ferguson, I didn't think had as much to do in this movie as she did in the last one, because she just stole Rogue Nation, in my opinion. But I do think they used her quite well in the scene that she was in. Alec Baldwin was cool. It was interesting they didn't have Jeremy Renner back for this one. I guess when there's, like, so many characters as is, they don't necessarily need him. But since he wasn't in Avengers Infinity War, and since he was barely in the movie Tag, I'm wondering, like, what's this guy been doing? How much was he paid for Tag? Is he gonna have a huge role in Avengers 4 now? Like, it's crazy that, like, he couldn't be in this movie because of those two, yet then he wasn't in either of those two all that much, or if at all. So it was, I don't know, kind of crazy to think about. But anyway, cast committed, really enjoyed all of their interactions with one another. The chemistry's there. You feel like they all know what they're doing at this point, so we can just go right into the plot and the action. I'll be honest with you guys, this movie's 2 hours and 27 minutes, and it flew by. I think that the first 20 minutes or so felt a little bit less exciting, but before they do, like, the Mission Impossible, like, intro, like, the stylized, like, opening and everything, I think that there was, like, one little trick they did that where I'm like, yup, I'm into it now. I really like this. And then they get to a point, all I'm going to say is it's the point with the extraction. Once you get to that, you are in the entire way through. Every action sequence that happens feels like it's a transition to plot, and the plot elements that are brought in feel like they're a transition to the next action sequence, to the next kind of character moment. It feels like everything is so well progressing to the next thing that it was really almost flawlessly done. Christopher McQuarrie, as a director, knows how to make a movie flow well. He knows how to turn some twists on you. He knows how to make all the beats feel like they're important in this movie. And honestly, there were only a couple things where I'm like, did I miss something here? And then I'm like, I catch up, because it's a dense movie. There's a lot of plot going on in it, and there's a lot you feel like you can miss, but you feel like McQuarrie really did guide you along and take you along for the ride and make you feel like, alright, if you don't get this, you have a beat to understand it, and then we're moving on to the next thing. It really feels like, even though it's 2 hours and 27 minutes, you're going through it all, you catch all of it by the end, and you're like, alright, maybe there's one or two things that don't make sense, but I'm sure that that'll be explained like a deleted scene, or I can kind of like put the pieces together in my head, which is a lot of what movie-going is in general. So Christopher McQuarrie directed one heck of a movie. I really think that it's a movie that moves quickly, but also explores a lot of denseness. I think that this is a movie that a lot of people will enjoy for its action, but also since its actors are so good, I think that they can appreciate that as well. And the action sequences, as I've already mentioned a couple times, impressive. really, really cool. The fight sequence you see between Henry Cavill, who also was quite good in the movie, and Tom Cruise is very not exactly what you would expect it to be from the trailer, but it's still really coolly done. I thought, like I said, the extraction scene was probably my favorite in the entire movie. And by the time you get to the end, you're like, "Yep, this was really well done." Again, you're holding your breath in some scenes. It just feels like it's high intensity, it's high octane action. You feel like it's an adventure movie that you're just along for the ride with. Really enjoyed Mission Impossible Fallout. My only other flaw besides, like, all right, there's a few like points in the first 20 minutes or so that feel like they could move along a little bit quicker. A few moments where I'm like, all right, not totally engaged in it yet. There was a twist in the movie that I saw coming a mile away. There's something, I think that if you guys have seen like a lot of movies like this before, you might piece it together pretty quickly. The second one thing happened in the movie, I'm like, yep, so this connects to this, and yep, we're gonna find this out. Luckily, once the twist was revealed, they did another kind of play on it, so I'm like, all right, I didn't totally connect like points B and C of the twist happen, but I definitely got like the main part of the twist. Luckily, they don't draw it out until like the very end of the movie. It is revealed like almost halfway through the movie, so I didn't have to like drag too much, being like, all right, when are they gonna reveal this? But I did think overall Mission Impossible Fallout, besides like knowing that twist was coming, and besides those first 20 minutes being like a little bit of getting their foot together and having like a little bit of exposition done from time to time, it's a movie that you guys are going to love. This is a movie you guys should definitely go out and see this weekend. I highly recommend it. The cast is great. The action sequences were Christopher McQuarrie directed. An amazing time at the theater. I really enjoyed Mission Impossible Fallout. Definitely one of my top 10 of the year so far. But guys, those are just my thoughts on Mission Impossible Fallout. Be sure to let me know all yours in the comment section down below. You guys can go over to mymoviethoughts.com, follow me on Twitter at JohnMHayeck, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for tons more posts from me. Links all through those are in the description below as well. You guys can also like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I'm John Hayeck, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.